Limiting reagent. A limiting reagent is a reactant in a reaction which gets completely consumed and stops the reaction from proceeding further. When there is not enough of one reactant in a chemical reaction, the reaction stops abruptly. To figure out the amount of product produced, it must be determined which reactant will limit the chemical reaction, the limiting reagent, and which reactant is in excess, the excess reagent. One way of finding the limiting reagent is by calculating the amount of product that can be formed by each reactant. The one that produces less product is the limiting reagent. The following scenario illustrates the significance of limiting reagents. In order to assemble a car, 4 tires and 2 headlights are needed, among other things. In this example, imagine that the tires and headlights are reactants, while the car is the product formed from the reaction of 4 tires and 2 headlights. 4 tires plus 2 headlights equals 1 car. If you have 20 tires and 14 headlights, how many cars can be made? With 20 tires, 5 cars can be produced because there are 4 tires to a car. With 14 headlights, 7 cars can be built. Each car needs 2 headlights. Although more cars can be made from the headlights available, only 5 full cars are possible because of the limited number of tires available. In this case, the headlights are in excess. Because the number of cars formed by 20 tires is less than number of cars produced by 14 headlights, the tires are the limiting reagent. They limit the full completion of the reaction, in which all of the reactants are used up. The initial condition is that there must be 4 tires to 2 headlights. The reactants must thus occur in that ratio, otherwise, one will limit the reaction. There are 20 tires and 14 headlights, so there are 2 ways of looking at this problem. For 20 tires, 10 headlights are required, whereas for 14 headlights, 28 tires are required. Because there are not enough tires, 20 tires is less than the 28 required. Tires are the limiting reactant. The limiting reagent is the reactant that is completely used up in a reaction, and thus determines when the reaction stops. It limits the reaction from continuing because there is none left to react with the excess reactant. There are 2 ways to determine the limiting reagent. One method is to find and compare the mole ratio of the reactants used in the reaction. Approach 1. Another way is to calculate the grams of products produced from the given quantities of reactants. The reactant that produces the smallest amount of product is the limiting reagent. Approach 2.